welcome to JobWatch, our weekly program about training for jobs. One place that anyone who's interested in training should take a look at is the local colleges of further education and the technical colleges. Your local college has probably changed radically over the past few years. It's now likely to run a wide range of courses on a wide variety of subjects, offering something for virtually everyone. In today's JobWatch, we go to a group of colleges to find out what kind of courses offer hope for employment in the areas where the traditional industries have declined. Later in the program, we'll remind you of the JobWatch phone-in service, where you can get an answer from an expert on your training inquiry. But first, Shelley Rhodey reports from a part of Manchester that 30 years ago was a busy centre for the engineering industry, but where now many students need to learn other skills if they're ever to find a job.
Kathleen Morrison is 21. She's a student. In Manchester, 20% of school leavers join the dole queue, but Kathleen and her friends believe that they have a chance of a job if they get the right qualifications. For teenagers leaving school at 16 or 18, colleges of further education offer a wide range of training and education courses. And 5 days a week, Kathleen attends a youth training scheme course here at Openshaw, one of a group of colleges in the city. But do such colleges provide the right kind of training in such a fast-changing world? And in areas like these, where traditional industries have died, can they really help youngsters find a job? Are colleges of further education in touch with the modern world? Are they and the students on the right course? In the 1950s, engineering was a booming industry in the northwest of England. This was the home of giants, firms like Vickers Armstrong and Lawrence Scott. But, as elsewhere in Britain, times have changed and jobs have vanished. 2 years ago, this was a metallurgy laboratory. That time, Openshaw College trained 300 engineering students every year. But now there are many more jobs in the service industries, and the really big demand is for courses like the one Kathleen is on. It's a 2-year YTS catering course, and practical experience is an important part. This is a very nerve-wracking occasion for the students. Today they're serving lunch to some rather special visitors.
Now, it's very important today. The guests we have in here today are all hotel managers or catering managers from large establishments. They're all professionals, and they know how this thing is done. Remember, if you have accidents, don't get flustered. I'm marking you the way you recover yourself, right? Accidents happen to the best of us. So, if you have one, just keep calm and recover yourself satisfactorily.
Like most of the 50 full-time students on this course, Kathleen has got O-levels. But it's a practical course designed to teach professional skills, so academic qualifications are not the only criterion in the college's selection process.
Well, we're looking for 2 O-levels, 2 CSEs, grade 2 or 3 if possible. But I think caterers are born, not made, and really what I'm trying to do is find a young person who's got that special spark that we can foster and develop into a person that's happy in earning the living with the public. An outgoing personality, a willingness to work as a member of a team, somebody who is willing to work on social hours, working at unusual times. That's the sort of thing we're looking for. It is important that a young person is happy wearing a uniform, doesn't feel that they are subservient in any way at all, and that they're quite happy to look smart and present a smart appearance to the customer. They learn to feel at ease with the customer, where perhaps at the beginning of the course they're quite frightened of the customer. They learn to have so much more self-confidence in their life generally.
What does it cost them to get kitted out for this sort of course?
Well, have no illusions. Being a professional caterer on a professional course is expensive. We're talking about around about £160 to buy protective clothing, knives, books and tools. But do remember that the things that they buy, they're going to earn the living with at the end of the course, so really it's an investment for the whole of their career.
Can they get any help with that sort of outlay?
The student grant is supposed to meet their out-of-pocket expenses, Don't forget, authorities do give them things like bus passes, and if the youngster is under 18, the authority will pay the tuition fees and their examination fees for them. But it does mean being hard up for 2 years.
Is it important that they actually complete the 2-year course?
Oh, very important indeed, because we're talking about a professional course with a professional qualification at the end of it. And employers, whether we agree or not, are looking for pieces of paper. They're looking for professional qualifications.
Then the service industry has been recognized these days at last as being really a profession. You've got to be a professional to work within the service industry.
As a personnel manager, I'd be looking first of all for personality, secondly confidence, and thirdly, and I think above all, charm from these people.
The presentation and the service was superb.
Their guests have departed, obviously impressed. But what was this work experience like for the students?
Having all these managers and that, you try to do your best, and I think the harder you try, the more mistakes you can make. I mean, we've done it for about half a year now, so we know how to make up for the mistakes if we do any, but I was quite pleased with myself. I dropped a knife. That was it, though. It just slid off the plate, I couldn't help it.
We get satisfaction out of it as well as the customer. I'm quite happy when they go away pleased with what we've done for them. And we're, you know, quite pleased with ourselves. That's what we came here to learn.
Do you find that the catering industry itself helps you?
Yes, certainly. Employers are particularly good in the way that they will take young people on placement. Having a young person who perhaps is quite unskilled is not an easy situation for an employer to deal with, and they do give us superb support in taking young people into their establishments and providing them with on-the-job experience, which backs up the information that a young person acquires in college and gives them a great deal more confidence. But it is a bit of a hairy task, you know, having an unskilled person in a busy kitchen, and employers are very good in the way they support us.
Is catering really a growth industry?
Oh, certainly, yes. You must remember it's an international industry. People have got to eat wherever they are, and young people have the opportunity to travel the world if they wish. It's certainly growing throughout the world, and certainly in Manchester.
The old industry, engineering, is far from dead, but it has changed, especially with the introduction of new technology. Cliff Mooney is an engineering lecturer at Openshaw and was consulted in colleges providing a wide range of courses to appeal to all types of students. The relaxed atmosphere, which is far removed from school, is very important. It attracts youngsters who might otherwise have rejected our education system and joined the dole queue. But these colleges have their backs to the wall. Since the Tories took power, the number of private training companies has increased considerably, and they represent a major challenge to the colleges. The joint government training organisation, the Manpower Services Commission, directly funds approved courses like the catering one we've seen. The intention is to make sure colleges are really meeting the needs of local industry. This year, the MSC's funding will increase to 25% of all the cash for non-advanced further education, but only for courses it approves. Many lecturers greatly resent and distrust this increase in central government involvement. What has, in their view, added insult to injury is that they had to spend much of the early part of this year completing a special report for the MSC. In this, colleges had to prove the relevance of their proposed courses in a bid to retain their funds. Many lecturers deny that this is the best way to ensure that their colleges meet all of today's needs.
The implication from government is that industry and commerce will be given a greater say in FE. The assumption behind that is that we didn't respond to those bodies before. Our view is we responded very well and very effectively to industry and commerce.
But further education has also a major response to the individuals, because I believe, and I think most of my colleagues came in to the further education system in the 60s and the early 70s. And for many kids, it's their life chance. We are very much the life chance of those kids who have not responded perhaps in a conventional school setting.
I'd like to think that the real motive of the government is to improve education, to give a quality education. I suspect that the real motive really is to give a cheap education system to provide a workforce with a narrow curriculum who will be factory fodder because they haven't been taught to do anything else, and then the government perhaps close the factories as well, so that's really putting the knife in.
I think what we've got to get away from is the ideology that national government knows best and allow local delivery subject to local accountability. And by that accountability, I don't just mean the elected member accountability, but accountability to the community and also to the industry and commerce in an area, and then we'll survive quite easily. We won't survive if national government continues to cream the local authority cake up and assume that it can administer a local service nationally in a better way than local authorities can.
We spent, all our people, colleagues, spent hours and hours, people with qualifications in their expertise, qualification on teacher training, qualification examining boards, writing what we believe was a good YTS curriculum for these youngsters to follow, a quality curriculum. We go along to MSc, and for instance, I went along with our submission, and the person who was looking through it was in the DHSS counter 2 weeks ago.
But some lecturers are not worried by government interference and are positively eager to strengthen links with local industry. Jack Buchanan is one of a new breed, a course director. He works for South Trafford College in Manchester and spends much of his time visiting local companies to find out what skills they need. The enormous growth of the leisure industries over the past years has meant new jobs and a demand for new skills. Buchanan has come to Old Trafford to talk to Chris Hassell, Lancashire County Cricket Club's secretary, about a new sports management course. Fortunately, Hassell fully approves